of Phoenix, where we all get together once a week or more, depending on where we are, to try and help each other in some way. It is really a great energy exchange when we are focused on other people, when we're focused on making other people happy, making other people get their goals. Because Zig Ziglar said it really well, where you can get anything in life you want as long as you have enough other people to get what they want. And so that's really what this is all about, is to try and give where we can, and that energy will come back for sure. So with our words of wisdom, we're going to move over to Eric. Eric, if you're ready there, buddy.
Yeah, sounds good. Connection okay right now?
Yep, perfect.
Perfect. All right. So we're all entrepreneurs here. We're all in a service industry of some sort. And so the big key, I think, to walk away with education today is, remember, there's a couple of really big factors that all your clients need from you. The number one factor is follow-up. We really want to be following up with our clients before they say, oh, I got to call Eric to get an answer to this question. We want to be proactive. We want to follow up, especially if we're in a current contract or a current transaction with our clients. We need to be at the forefront of that, and we need to always be the first person to follow up with them rather than them follow up with us. When a client has to follow up with you, it kind of takes a little bit of grain of salt or grain of sand, and it sort of starts degrading a little bit of that relationship. It's like, oh, well, I had to chase Eric. I had to call Eric. But it's quite amazing and fascinating that when I make a phone call to a client, they're always 10 out of 10. They're always like, oh, God, thanks so much for the call. Really appreciate it. I was actually thinking of you. I was about to give you a call. And I'm like, great, well, what can I do for you? So that's the number one thing. Follow up is the number one reason that you're going to lose any clientele in your business, usually. So that's the number one reason. The number two thing to think of is when we don't follow up. What's the reason for that? You got to sort of search deep and find out what's the reason for that. And I would hazard fear. It's the fear that you're calling your client and that you feel like you're going to be selling to your client. You're going to feel like you're that used car salesman analogy, that, oh, well, they don't want to hear from me. And so there's that fear. There's that lack of confidence that my call is important enough that that person will welcome that phone call. So what we need to do is we need to turn that around. The easiest way to tackle fear, I know it's sometimes hard to do, but it's to take action. What's the take action part? Simply just dial that phone number. You might be trembling you might be sweating, you might be fearful, but just dial that client phone number, make the contact, say hello, hi, how are you? It's Eric calling. I wanted to make sure I reached out to you in case you needed further information, in case you had questions, in case you had any concerns. And then just be quiet, and your client will talk, your prospect will talk, and they will appreciate so much the fact that you made the call. You'll appreciate now that you got over your fear and you took action. Remember, the only way to get over fear is to take action. And you don't have to take 10 actions. You take a micro action. You take a one action. You don't have to do much to start breaking up that. What that'll do is that will create a level of confidence in you. And the last thing I'll say on education here is smile. Smile is the number one breaker of unconfidence. So if you start standing tall on a microphone like I do if I'm not driving, and I smile and I look in the mirror and I keep smiling, you will start getting rid of any non-confidence and you will gradually start feeling confidence. There's my words of wisdom. You got 3 things to work on. If ever you need any assistance, feel free to reach out to me. Hope they work for you.
Thank you, Eric. Yeah, that is so true. Yeah, follow up is really very, very important. Hi, Steve. Glad you can join us. Awesome.
Hi.
Good job. Okay. Just out of curiosity, who was presenting today? Is it Steve? Not sure. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll play something on my own. All right. So let's get right into it. So we'll do our introductions, and at this time of year, we got the first week of August. How does that change your business? With many people, it's trying to get things booked for winter or whatever. So let's start with Terry Black. Go ahead, Terry.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Terry Black with Rivera Living. I am the retirement living expert of the group, and I am here to share today that Rivera Living is a 60-plus-year-old company, and we have residences in Canada, US, and the UK. And we offer short-term stays, long-term stays, summer stays, and winter stays, as well as, you know how sometimes we lose power for days and days on end, weeks and weeks on end. You know, if you have a senior or senior couple that is in that situation, remember the retirement living is an option for them to come and stay, and they get all their meals and taken care of. So at Rivera Living, you live life on your terms and live life your way. So come and experience more living with Rivera. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Terry. Awesome. And Susan McGarry.
Good morning, everyone. You all know who I am. Just back from Toronto, and super excited about another product that the company has replaced with the joint tea. I guess the company found that people weren't consistent enough with it, so they've put it in a pill form now, and it supports your body's flexibility and mobility with just one capsule a day. It's formulated to improve joint health in your knees, hips, shoulders, lower back, hands, and feet. It nourishes joint cartilage and another word I can't pronounce, synovial fluids naturally. So this is a far superior product than our joint tea. And one thing I know is I do a lot of driving, and when I shoulder check, I could only go this far. But now, since being on the joint control, I can turn my neck completely to the right, is the same as the left. Is the same as the right. So I'm super excited about this new joint control. It's officially launched today. So if there's anyone that you know that's having or suffering from joint or muscle pain, knee pain, back pain, be sure to have them reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. And over to Eric. Go ahead, buddy.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Eric Parron, your real estate advisor with Engel and Volkers. Sorry about the fact that I'm driving. I can't look at you directly. I just want to let you know. So what I do is I help people make sense out of real estate. Right now, the market is still in a fluctuating market. We're still in a seller's market, but we have to really make sure that we assess a property really, really well. Properties are selling within 30 days, and we need to make sure that as a seller, we're positioning the house properly, that we're pricing the house amazingly well. The more buyers we get in the first week of your listing going live on MLS, the better chances you have of getting your listed price or something extremely close to it, or sometimes in multiple offers, which we're still seeing a few times, getting more than that. So make sure that we do that. Make sure that we get into the house. We look at the paint, we look at the staging, we look at everything that needs to be done to make sure that you maximize that sale. And from a buyer's perspective, let's get out there. Let's walk the pavement. Let's go see as many houses as we can. Keep in mind that in real estate, it's not like TV. TV is totally fake. It's not real TV. It's not reality TV. It's fake TV. We don't go see 3 homes and then all of a sudden everybody goes and drinks pineapple drinks and woo, we just bought a house. You got to get a process of elimination. You got to go see what's right, see the floor plans, see the neighborhood, see all that you need to see. Just last second is I will and have gone to go see 10 properties with clients. I've gone to go see 70 properties with clients. Process of elimination. Please remember, reach out, lean on your realtor. They're there to work for you. I certainly am. Eric Parron, your realtor with England Volkers. Take care.
Thanks a lot, Eric. And Norm, over to you, sir.
Norm Boyer from Boyer Boys Home Maintenance Repair. Due to a conversation we had yesterday, it reminded me that you all should be doing something. You should be looking at your window wells. Window wells drain the water away from the house, so you have gravel in there. So the worst thing for window wells is leaves. So leaves fill up the window well and make a layer that stop the water from draining down into your weeping tiles, and it'll fill up like a fish tank, and then the water will come in through the window. So your tip from Boyer Boys is go check at your window wells, check if there's any debris. You should seeing your gravel, so the water, when it rains, especially on a heavy rain, will drain away and not build up and come in through your window. and then you're going to see evidence of water and water stains. So the tip from Boyer Boys is this week, everybody go and check your window wells and see that the top is not stopping the water from draining out. So Boyer Boys, help maintenance repair, we fix your home. We don't want to fix your rotten walls. So check your window wells.
Yeah, good advice. Thanks, Norm. And over to Steve.
Hi,
You ready there,
everyone.
bud?
Steve here from, oh, yeah, you can hear me, right? By
Yeah.
Media Design. I was just going to turn my I got a little light here, but it's all good. You can see me, right? Anyway, I'll fix that up in a second. But yeah, I'm going to riff off of what Eric was saying about his business, because just like Eric, who was talking about positioning the house properly, if you're selling a house, we're the same with websites. It's got to be positioned properly in the marketplace. So like in terms of when you're setting up your website, or if you've got a website that isn't working too well or isn't getting you the results you want, sometimes it's a matter of doing some research, seeing what the top dogs are doing in the space, and making sure that what you offer is in response to what's out there, but also different. So it's kind of like you need to know what the market is doing in your space, your particular part of the market, in your market share, and you need to know how to position yourself vis-a-vis these people, the ones that are being seen. And you want to be different, but you've got to do it in a smart, strategic way. So there's a lot of positioning that goes on, and that requires some planning and some thinking and a lot of research. So I could really relate to what Eric was saying. And see as many things as you can, is another thing he said. And we do that too with websites. We try to really look at a few different things that are out there, and then hone in on an approach that is useful. So by Media Design, helping you leverage your online presence.
Thanks a lot, Steve. And Sam, over to you.
Thank you, Tony. Good morning, everyone. Sam Sturris, connectedcars.ca. There's my contact information in the chat. Well, dash cameras, that's my thing. Just like this one here. I know there's 3 people online that have them in their vehicles because I installed them. If you aren't driving in an EV, like our friend Dave has, his Tesla has automatic dash camera ability. 360 is he has in his vehicle. If you don't have that, then you need something like this, because you never know when an accident's going to happen, and you're going to be accused of the accident, and it's not your fault. And all you have is your word against the other person's, and you can end up in court and all kinds of messy things. Or you could be in a parking lot and your car gets hit, and you're in the grocery store or in the mall, and you come out and you've got damage, and you have no way of proving that the person, or knowing who had hit your vehicle. Now, that's what dash cameras can do for you. They're basically insurance that you only pay once for. So if you're interested in something like that, I can be of help, or someone that might. Give me a referral. Sam Sturris, connectedcars.ca. Today's mobile electronics without the cost of a new vehicle, and much more.
Thanks a lot, Sam. And Tanya, over to you.
Beyond safety compliance. I was on a call yesterday where we were talking about meetings, and there was one person who was saying that her clients constantly were deferring to, well, I can't answer that because Steve's not here. Well, I think Susan's the one who's supposed to follow up on that. And well, that's a question that really Bernie should be answering. And neither, Steve, Susan, Bernie were at the meeting, nor were they supposed to be at the meeting. And it was bizarre to this woman watching this interaction that all they're doing is talking about everybody else and what everybody else should be doing, not inviting the people who should be there, who would be able to make the meeting more efficient and more streamlined to be able to get the answers that need to be gotten. So Beyond Safety Compliance can help you with your meetings to make them more streamlined and helpful as opposed to annoying. Beyond Safety Compliance, how does your work look?
Thank you, Tanya. Awesome. Okay. And Jacqueline, over to you.
Good, beautiful morning. I know I got up and I took a beautiful long deep breath and I lifted my shoulders. I took them back and I released them down because I'm going to be having conversations with people who have their primary residence and their rental properties, mortgages, renewals, the possibilities. And with Bank of Canada's frequent, I get to say frequent, prime rate changes occurring now more than ever, Canadian real estate owners need to look for unbiased, really unbiased attention to their mortgage terms to define what their next steps are. I'm here to help. Might be a short term. Might be a short term. Here's cheers to your conversation with me because we can do it. When you're looking for strategies for your mortgage money, always want to contact your mortgage honey.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Awesome. And Bernie, over to you.
You know, Jacqueline, when I'm in Costco, sometimes I realize my shoulders are hunched up and they go, you automatically play in the back of the head. Relax, pull the shoulders back. It's really good. Bernie Franz, we're Creative Insight Consultants. What we do is we connect businesses in different time and space. Areas you're not traveling, we do. Also have a podcast called Knack for Business, and that talks to different businesses about their journey as well as golden nuggets. Also involved with the Property Wizard, which is a podcast where I'm a co-host, where I'm a co-host, and it's about commercial real estate and investing. And then we also have the World Referral Network and the golf game coming up. So it's coming to you soon. So if you want to golf, sign up, please. And one last piece, and this is also part of the networking element, and that's one of the other pieces that I do and help people focus on. I put the links in earlier. There's a LinkedIn live post and a Facebook live post. You should be putting your details in there, all right? Salient facts, because that's a good way for everybody to see it. Bonnie, how many people are watching typically our LinkedIn Live?
About a dozen, between 8 and a dozen. Yep.
So those are the number of hits that come into that space, right? So put your contact details in there. Over to you, Tony.
Okay, thank you, Bernie. Penny Lee was not able to make it today, so what I'm going to do, a presentation on mine. I guess I was coming up anyway. So every Friday at 1:30, I do a free online tuning class, and it is a real pleasure for me to do that because it's a way for me to just be free. It's like it's non-scripted, and it's usually whatever channel, whatever spirit wants to send, or the people that are coming in. It just comes out, and the topics are usually created during the week as people are asking for various insight. Spirit is listening, and these kind of things come out. A couple of weeks ago, I did a segment on the backwards law, and these are all the things that are happening in our industry that we think is going to go one way, but it tends to go in another way. So I'm going to play that a little bit, and just to give you a taste of what it's like on that channel. And I do have a Facebook link to it, so that if you miss it, it is recorded, so you can watch it on your leisure after the thing. So I hope you enjoy this. Okay, what a topic today. we have something today that I think will shake up your world a little bit. I got this idea a couple of weeks ago when I was looking at a survey, an article. They were talking about if people had the chance to go back in time, 20, 30, 40 years, whatever, back to their teenage years, would they do anything different? Would they do things different? And all the question was would anything change? All the decisions you made and everything that you thought you needed to do, you did. Would you change anything? And a vast majority of people said, oh, absolutely. I would not go with the spouse I had. He ends up being not a great person. Or I went off into,
college, where I should have gone to work, or whatever the case was. But the underlying thing was they would change it, and they thought they did things backwards. And so that got me thinking when Spirit was saying there are so many things in our culture, in our society, that is backwards. The way we look at healthcare, for instance. In some countries, the doctors get paid only when their patients are healthy. That's just one example. There's a few that really care about their patients, and the society agrees that if a client or if a patient is healthy, that's when the doctor gets paid. So that's when you see the doctors going, okay, I didn't see you in the last appointment. Are you okay? There's a lot of proactive things. But in our society, it's completely backwards, where they get paid when you're sick, and only when you're sick. And that's just one perspective. Spirit isn't saying that's right or it's wrong, but it is a backwards sort of approach. And so when we look at things and introduce this concept to you of being backwards, and this is really a larger topic than I thought when I started looking at it, but it will at least introduce enough examples and so on to look at things that things are kind of backwards. And what Spirit is hoping after this class is you start looking at everything in your life. Is that backwards? Is this backwards? And so that's sort of the introduction there is that they wanted to really relay. One technique, just a very simple one before we start to get into this, there's one technique called the backwards technique. And what it does is that if you choose, the way it works is if you choose anything at random, and it usually applies to things that are in sets in twos, like two things to do. Whichever one you choose, it is always the majority of times, it's the opposite that really would have what you needed to choose. I'll give you an example. Let's say you start your day and it's a little cool, so you put your socks on during the day and you're going through your day, and then you wear it for about 3-4 hours. And it starts to get warm. And so let's say you remove your socks and put it beside a sofa or something. Maybe you'll wear it later if it gets cold. And so as the day progresses, the sun goes down, it does get colder and your feet start to get cold. And so you put your socks back on. So if you just use anything at random, you just pick whatever sock you want on. And because of the way our feet are shaped, with the big toe and everything, there's a certain way that's more comfortable, right? Otherwise, the sock will be on the left and it's on the right, sort of thing. Whichever one you choose will be the wrong one for your feet. In other words, if you were going to put it on your right foot, you just pick up any sock and it's the left. And so, and that's just one very simple example that I've noticed over the years. It's very, very rare that I'll pick up one at random and it's the right one. So all Spirit is saying is just to introduce you to this concept is without thinking, without doing any kind of research or anything, you just do something, and whichever one you choose the opposite, and you'll be almost right all the time. Okay, you can try this on your own. It's really fascinating. I look at trends and patterns. That's really what I've been doing for the past 40 years. So I get really good at it when I start to see patterns in things. And this is definitely one of them. So when you have a thing of twos, whichever one you choose at random, it's the opposite. That is the correct one. That's just one thing. The other thing about being looking at things in a backwards sense, if you do things opposite, is that it does. And scientists have proven this in many studies, that when we start doing things alternately, it actually improves our neurons in our brain. If you start, let's say, brushing your teeth on your opposite hand, so whichever hand you brush your teeth, use the opposite hand. And it's actually a little funny at first. And if you're putting on a pair of pants and you always put your right leg in first, that's just the way you always do it. Now you're going to switch it, do it backwards, and put your left foot in, back sort of thing. And to see if that, and what that does is that you are, instead of having something that it's such a slam dunk, it's just easy to get dressed, now your brain has to function, and you're actually creating more neurons. So it's a good thing when you're starting to do things backwards. Eating utensils, if you always have your fork on the right and so on, switch it to the other side and then try to eat with your left hand instead. Very, very different. And your mind is just, what's going on? And this is actually good because you're creating those extra pathways in your mind that is open to things. And so what does that do? What does it do is it increases the options that you will sort of self-generate your mind to do. So when you have certain problems that come up, you won't be so static in what your results will be. When you start creating more neurons, those are essentially more options that you can entertain in any decision-making process. All right? So I remember this was years ago. It was a math student that had not that great of grades in her school. And then one time they segregated the elementary class and they gave everybody a test. After the test, all the students that got below 50%, and there was quite a few, it was about almost 30 to 40% got below because of the way the questions were asked, and they essentially failed, right? So they took those students and they segregated them into another room and gave them another test. And they didn't know what the answers were. They just said, okay, just do the best you can. Here's your time limit. And they gave everybody the test. After the test, they didn't even generate them or tabulate them or anything. They just said everybody got 80%. Way to go, guys. Hey, you did this. A short time later, 100% of those students that were told they were great math students had significantly higher marks in math only because they were told that they did. Now that's backwards compared to what we normally think. Because to become a good math student, you have to work hard, struggle, do all the tests, have a tutor, get all these math-related solutions to do it. And yes, those things do help, but not as significantly as you might think. The first order of business is to say, I am a good math student. So you're doing it backwards. That you're already a math student, and now you're just going to try and prove it. Much different than you're going the other way to prove that you're worthy enough to be a good math student. There's something in that translation from one direction or another that loses its effectiveness. When we struggle, when we are trying to be a good student, when we're trying, and that word trying comes up a lot when I go through coaching sessions and so on, I'm trying to do this. I say, okay, stop the trying. No more trying, now we do, sort of thing. It's like the thing from Yoda, if you saw the Star Wars part of it. But it essentially, we're trying to get it so that they already have that authority that they're a great student. And they believed that, oh, well, how come I failed? And then this was even, and they even said this was even a harder test than the first one. And they got 80%. So all of them had much better marks. Now, the definition that came up from Spirit, and I hope I got the wording right, was the backwards law says that whatever you are actually chasing, trying, struggling with, repels itself from the energy of desperation. When a person wants to be, let's go back to this math student, when you want to become a good math student and you don't do very well in the tests, you can't understand anything the teacher's saying while in class, the homework you think is, I just can't do this. That is a form of desperation because you want it so much. You want to be so much. And your parents, when you come home, they're saying, how'd you do in math? Oh, I got 40%. Oh, man, you got to do better. So there's this essence of pressure and desperation to be there. Whenever you have desperation and you're trying, struggling, or chasing, it repels the exact thing you're trying to attain. Not sure if that makes sense. Okay, but it repels it. It's actually like two magnets. If the north and north, you put them together, they won't go together. They repel itself.
Okay, that's just a short excerpt of that particular one. We do a meditation after to totally try and change the way that you think and the way that you look at things, because a lot of times the things that we see isn't exactly what we see. It is our perception of what we see. And when we realize that it's not really what's happening, it's based on your background, the way that you think about yourself, the way that you think that you're either a good student or a good business person or whatever it is, or that you can't make a mistake. How many times have you heard that? That no matter what I do, I can't make a mistake. Everything just falls in good. You don't hear that very often. Most people say, I make a lot of mistakes and I paid for them. And it's okay to say that in the surface, but if you keep saying that same thing, it will actually turn into a self-fulfilling prophecy. And it's really, really difficult to go after. So that's just one excerpt of that. If you have any questions about it, we can. We have a couple of minutes, but that's one idea. But some of the topics that we get, it's amazing, because I really thought when I started this 2.5 years ago, I only had enough material for 3 months. I had it all listed for 3 months, and once that sort of went, I said okay, and then it just kept coming. Well, as long as people show an interest, then the topics keep coming, and so it's just amazing. I never thought it would go 2 years plus, but anyway, it's been great. So if you know of somebody who's going through a really difficult time, we can certainly help them. All right. Okay. All right. We'll just do a quick. All right. Let's see. You got.
Oh, and I got a quick question for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Go ahead, Bernie. Yeah.
When you're doing the backwards piece, and maybe Tanya might know more about this, it helps keep you more agile,
Yes.
especially as you're aging. So it's the more neural pathways you have, it just you become more versatile, right? And
Yes. Yes.
I don't know if I want to start writing with my left hand, since I'm predominantly right hand, because no one will be able to understand anything. It'll look more like I've been, free me. I've been
Well,
kidnapped.
actually, what Spirit is saying, that's what you should do. If you really want to increase your handwriting, they say do the most difficult one to do first. Is try and handwrite with your feet. Put a pencil or a crayon or whatever in your feet and try to write your name. Try to make your signature. Because what happens is it's so difficult to do it that way. When you finally go it on your hand, it's so easy. If you want to improve your reading, read upside down, backwards, and while you're on a treadmill, because it's very difficult doing that. And what happens is, and Einstein has proven this, that when you stretch the mind to such a degree, it never goes back the same size. Ever. It's like an elastic band. When you're pulling it and it's so difficult, then you go back, it's like, okay, this isn't as hard as I thought. We hear this a lot with motorcycle people when they go to a motocross, and they drive there, and then they go through all those bumps and all the incredible difficult course that is on there. Then they get back on the road, and it's just so calm. It's just like, wow, this is so easy. And so that is the idea, is to try and do things that is so difficult, so outlandish, that itself will stretch your capability when it goes back, and that's. But yeah, I mean, you could do it with your left, you can do it with your right, but I haven't tried it with my feet, but I know a friend that has. His handwriting was horrible. I had pretty good handwriting, but he says I can't do that. So he was told to make a signature with his feet, and he tried for a couple of weeks, and then that changed the way that he signs with his hands. That's just the way the neurons work. It just really stretches your capability. So if you want to do something really really amazing. This is why people that have gone through very difficult times, like they were like I have clients that were on the street at age 14, and they had to get out of high school, and they were on the street for a little bit, living in a car, and on and on it goes about how hard things are. But yet you look at them today, and they are this very collected, calm person, and they should be angry based on their childhood and based on how they were treated. But they're the nicest people because they understand tragedy, they understand work, and they also understand that if I work hard, and it's that whole philosophy that no one's going to save me, no one's going to save me. I'm on my own. And that's when you make it click. You just make it happen through sheer will. Then you get a person that everything has been given to them. Then they go through one hardship and it's like, okay, I give up. And it's like, wow, it is all about your experiences. The harder life you've had, it doesn't mean that you're going to be a hard person. In fact, it's in many cases, it's the opposite. It's when you had a very easy life, those are the hardest people, the people that are self-involved, and everything has been given to them. Those are the hardest customers I have ever dealt with because they think they're entitled. If even though they might buy a very small piece of merchandise, it is okay for them to call you at 3 o'clock in the morning saying that they're not happy with it. But many others won't even try that. But I hope I've answered your question. I hope that was part of it. But make yourself. We had another show on self-imposed adversity, and that's one of the videos we have on the site. And it's making your life actually harder on purpose, and it's not because you're thinking that you're overwhelmed already. It's just that when it happens by accident and you blame, it's someone else's blame. Yeah, that's so true. You can make your it's all about blame, and if you blame people, it's so hard to get past that. Just take control and get it done. It's we've had many cases where even my own life, when my dad passed away, it was in a really bad situation. He didn't have any insurance, and we just moved into a new house in a new province, knew everything, and all of a sudden I'm the man of the house, and it's just whoa, it's just a big shift. And so we had to sell his truck to bury him, and on and on it goes. But it sort of establishes the fact that I wasn't looking for anyone to save me. We're doing this on our own. When you have that attitude, it's much different. It's the way you treat people with a lot of respect. I respect people that wait on, do the waitress thing when I go into a restaurant. I know how hard they have to work. I know that if I'm moving the hard, heavy things that they have to move, I fully appreciate because I've been there. And so it's when you have hardship, it is not a bad thing. It actually really conditions and builds character. It's when you don't have anything, everything's given to you. I've had people that got a car when they were 16. The day after, they crashed it. They literally crashed the car. It's okay. They get another car the next day. Those people, they just don't understand value. They don't understand, and they treat people very, very badly. The way that they do it, because everything's given to them. They think the whole world owes them, and it's that's a client that you probably will never want because you'll never satisfy them. You could give your stuff away for free, you could do it, and they're still not happy. So it's just that thing. You just gotta create that life of your own, and don't knock hard times because it's made you. Some of the there are some people that have had really, really tough lives, and they're the gentlest people on this planet. And the way they've just carried themselves, and they don't tell anybody. They don't tell everybody that they've had any hard time. you just find out by accident, or you hear it from somebody else, and then they tell the story that, oh wow, I never knew you. Never would have guessed that you had such a tough life. So let's go right into the little status from where we are. So far, we've got 301 referrals since this year, and 305 BAMs. You see how they're so close together? If you want your business to get some referrals, start doing BAMs. Even if you've done it before with one person, there's always something that could come out of another meeting. And when we do these mix and mingles, those are great. I mean, fact that we're face to face is a great attribute there, because we can really connect in that way. But it's awesome. We got 174, 337 in terms of shared business that's reported, and that adds to the 4.4 million that we've had since we've been here, since over the last 7.5 years. 6,858 business referrals to date, so it's great. So even if you have a visitor, and this is one of the things that we stress, if you're bringing in visitors, you're bringing in people that might be good for the group, instead of remembering what Zoom link it is, just go onto the page, pbex.ca, and get them just to press this button, these red buttons. This way, like today, they're all the same, but this way, the mind thinks the way it does. And so the Zoom is embedded in the button, so they can get right in. And even if you get a new computer and all that isn't programmed, you can still go to the site, and it will take you to the meetings. Okay, we have the same Zoom link for our after hours group, and it's also the same when we do the Rev meetings and everything that we do. So it's very simple if in that way. Okay. Our after hours group, if you want to come to that, there's the booking for that, and you could book that for you. The golf and the sponsorship, those are also buttons if you want to play golf or be a sponsor at the September 14th event for EORC. And the mix and mingle, that's now then the next one, Penny Lee and Terry are doing. So we'll get the locations and all the coordinates for that. We'll have that all done. And that, okay. And so far we're at 32,000 in terms of our local charities that we've given to, and anytime that we put some funds out for a charity over the past several years, we sort of tabulate that and just give an idea of how this group, the size that it is, can still create quite an impact. And hopefully this will really bleed into your business, knowing that it's not just you doing things. We're part of a group, and it's very caring people that want to make a difference in the community in some way. So we do it as a group, but if you want to do anything on your own, that's great as well. But never think that the little things that you could do will have a little effect, because it all adds up. If you can do something to a local community, a Boys and Girls Club, or anything that will help your community in some way, is always a great thing, because you're giving, and that energy certainly comes back. All right. Now let's get that out of there. Now our events itself. Today we got our meeting today. Moving to Heal with Penny Lee later this morning at 10 o'clock, and then again tonight at 7. I do my tuning class, as you said, on Friday at 1:30, and we're going to be talking about the war in your head. How come there's this natural tendencies that we all have compared to what society wants you to do? Why is there a conflict there? We're going to be talking about that from an energy perspective. The live aerial performance from Rivera. Terry, you want to talk a little bit about this? You know a lot about this.
Yeah, so it's a musical event, and it's an afternoon. Just come and enjoy it. It's at Alta Vista Manor. There's lots of parking there, so yeah, just pop in and come and enjoy some refreshments and the music. It'll be great.
So this is the same location that we had one of our mix and mingles, correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That was a good location. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
What
Awesome.
happens there? Does she fly around or what's the
I have
area?
no idea.
I mean, it's intriguing, right? Like, does
Yeah.
she swing around on a rope or
Not
Okay.
sure,
And just
Steve.
you have to show up to find out, right?
That's right.
Audience participation, Steve. You have to go up on a rope and start swinging around.
I'm
Gonna
not
be
sure if the
embarrassing.
seniors will be in there. Just a note that there's no meetings next week starting Monday, so we have that off because of the civic holiday. A lot of people are still on holidays and so on. So just out of respect for that, we're going to give us a bit of a break. Moving to Hill again with Penny Lee on the Tuesday, and our after hours for this month will be meeting on the 8th. And normally we meet on the first Tuesday, but Penny Lee had an appointment on that, so we moved it to the next week. It's at 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock. We talk about goals. It's a mastermind group to try and help you gain your goals, and then we get you accountable for that. So it's not really so much a networking where it's like the weekly groups where we tell us what we do. It's more that these are the problems that I have, and I don't know, does anybody have any ideas? So it's like a sounding board. If you have an idea about something, sometimes somebody in the group will say, I've tried that. I wouldn't do it that way. And then they'd give you recommendations, not to sort of talk you out of it, but it's also you're going into it with the eyes wide open. And, you know, there's some things that you probably have not thought about that others have gone through, sort of thing. So that's a great one. So 7 to 8 on that Tuesday. And on the 19th, we're sponsoring the Cruise Don't Bruise. That's the EORC event. And we've donated a limited edition Harley Davidson jacket from Phoenix, and Higher Self has sponsored the breakfast. So it's a nice way for bikers to get together and for a great cause, you know, in that way. And again, moving to Heel on the 22nd with Penny Lee. It's at the retirement home in Russell. Okay. So, okay, that's about it for there. And now, since we're in a new month, if you've had any business that you've done in the month of July, if you could send that to me or have that forwarded to me, just so I can add it to the list, okay? And that way it'll be a lot better. We've also got our e-cards, and we're keeping track of that now because we're starting to see the correlation that when the e-cards get to a certain number. Last month we did, in the month of July, we did just over 700 hits. So what does that mean? It means that 700 because when people already have your contact information, they don't go with it again. In other words, they don't use your QR or hit the link because they've already got that on their phone. These are new clients that have seen you somewhere on social media, through your email, because I have it all in there. Somebody wants to get a hold of me at the end of my post on Instagram or whatever. If you want to get a hold of Tony, here's his e-card. And I've got 1,200 hits this year. I did 1,200 hits all of last year. And this is August, and I still got a few months to go. So in other words, when you really start using it, that means that there's more and more of these people that have your contact information. And one of the things that's kind of weird is that you don't get the benefits from it right away. It could be a year, maybe 2 years down the way that people will say, okay, I need to know this. So it's great. So 8,100 hits so far this year. Okay, and okay, let's get right into our I have portion just so we can try and finish on time. So let's start with Norm. How was your week, sir?
Off mute. Okay. Well, the mix and mingle yesterday was got two really good contacts, one with Ema and one with Guy.
Yeah.
So Guy's another contractor, and we found out that I do things he doesn't do, and he does things that I don't do, so that it's a really good mix to have in our group now.
Absolutely,
So that was a
absolutely.
very positive
That's
thing.
the best.
And the food was good too.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, Dwight and Nicole did a fantastic job on the food. We're definitely going to use them again. It's it's good stuff. I can't wait to do those in the future. But yeah, that's always what we're trying to do. Is what you won't do, somebody else will do. And so that where the referrals are, you get a client that, you don't do that, you could refer to another person. So yeah, good point, Norm. Steve, how was your week, sir? You're on mute there, but
My week was great. I really enjoyed, actually, Eric, I think you always do, I don't know if he's still on the call here, but always great little nuggets. I want to thank you for the week after week of that. And some of the stuff you said was right on the money. Just following up with clients, I thought was amazing. I mean, it's very apropos for me actually right now. I've got a lot of work on the go and things are going well. So in many ways, because I've been away twice, I did some traveling, I'm doing a lot of catch up right now. So if I'm not like quite as like gung-ho on the BAMs, it's because I'm kind of like, ooh. But I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there, people. And I definitely enjoy coming into the meetings all the time. Tony, I've got some numbers to give you for stuff that I have been doing. So the last few months have been really good. And I really definitely get a lot out of being in this group. Just want to say that and thank you all. So nothing really specific on BAMs right now. I mean, there's ongoing business stuff. So I'm talking to certain members about ongoing things. Mostly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Steve. And Terry, how was your week?
Thanks, Tony. I had a great week. Bernie and I had a BAM, and I really enjoyed our mix and mingle last night and meeting Guy and Sylvie and is it Ima as well. Yeah, I have a friend who's an artist and does prints on her on canvas and stuff. So now I can recommend Ima for her. And yeah, so it's been really great. So thanks for your presentation as well, Tony. And have a great week, everyone. And we'll see you, I guess it's in 2 weeks.
Okay. And Susan.
Had a great week. Thank you. Great presentation, Tony. Always find your information fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing. And I have a live BAM set up at my sister's restaurant Friday, back to back. Michael at 12 and then Guy at 1:30. So that'll be nice. Both want to get started on the joint control. So it'll be great to have them get results. And then, of course, learn more about their business at the same time and help them get referrals. Thanks. Have a great long weekend, everybody, and a great week ahead.
Thank you, Susan. And
I
Sam,
forgot to thank you as well for your presentation. Very good presentation. Sorry about that, but it was very interesting, actually. Yeah.
Sam, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Tony. First of all, thanks for your presentation. I'm not planning on using my feet to write, but I am going to try my left hand at brushing my feet tomorrow morning. They've inspired me that way. I continue to advertise for Alex Evolta when I give my receipts out for work that I do on vehicles here. I missed the mix and mingle last night because of my baseball game. I should have been there because we lost our baseball game and I missed the possible jerk chicken. Hopefully next time I'll be there. Let's see here. Guy, I have a BAM with him next week. We've been getting prices on doing a direct vent gas fireplace in our home. So he's going to drop by next week and take a look. Terry Fraser was here, did an oil change on his vehicle earlier this week, and he got a free t-shirt out of the deal. And lastly, but not leastly, Norm, you talked about a window well here. Interesting enough, just yesterday, I was downstairs here and I looked over because there was a noise. A window well, there was a little bird, a little baby robin stuck in there, couldn't get out. So I had to tear apart my window well and I cleaned it out at the same time and got the little bird out eventually. He was not cooperative, but his parent was yapping away behind me while I was trying to get it out of the window well.
Yeah, it happens. Okay, thanks, Sam. Tanya, over to you. How was your week?
Thanks for the presentation, Tony. One thing that I might have added when Bernie asked this question, neuroplasticity is a thing. This is the wonderful thing about science, that we learn more as we go. So if you go back to a textbook from, I don't know, 1915, the brain was seen as static. And this part does this, and this part does this, and this part does this. And therefore, if you're missing one part, you can't do this anymore. Stroke patients have told us otherwise. So it's neuroplastic. We're just at the dawn of understanding human brains. I think it's amazing what the potential that's out there. So I had we have ongoing meetings with Steve Brennickmeyer in order to get my website up and running. And I had a BAM with Wendy. And I look forward to seeing Jacqueline next week. And it was a wonderful in-person event yesterday, not only because we got to see Ema's business, but we got to taste the catering that Dwight and Nicole do. And I think that combination is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very good. Thanks, Tanya. Jacqueline, how was your week?
Great. It was a fantastic week because I have 3 BAMs booked for next week. And the meet and greet was amazing, not just for the food, not just for the location, but that it ignited Ema Ortega to think I could put on a workshop based on what I do.
Yep.
That excited me. So have a fantastic week, ladies and gentlemen. Ciao for now.
Yeah, who would have thought that you need a class to get your phone to be able to take pictures? Because I see people that take videos. He says, "Oh, look at this! Look at this! Look at this!" You can't see anything, you know. So you need training as to how people will see it. So it's so true. Bernie, over to you. How was your week?
Fantastic week. Terry said we were having a disappeared, or her background's eating her up, I guess. Terry and I had a BAM, and Jacqueline and I will be having a chat next week and BAMing away. And Ema's shop is really fantastic. You know, understanding everything about the different types of glass to put on a print. You know, the artistic glass, one that's shiny or reflective, and so forth. It's great. It's really good information, a wealth of information in that space. And she's an artisan, so she's a graphic designer by stock and trade. So, you know, what perfect for a person to be a photographer. And yeah, I'll stop there. I can keep going. It was a good, and Dwight and Nicole. Yeah. The skinny man approval of great food. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, it was great. It was great. I like the mini banner that you pull up. We're going to order a couple of those for Phoenix and my own business because that could be really good. As we call them, table talkers. They're good for show pieces, and when you're doing a sponsorship thing like coming up in the golf, you just put it on the table. You know, sponsored by whatever, and yeah, so some good ideas there. So. Yeah, and so I'm doing some business with Susan. This new tea that you're talking about today, you can send me some information about that. I don't know if you have any in stock. You have some in stock?
Yeah, I do. It's actually a pill form now, so it's no more tea. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, send me some info, and we'll see if we can do that either on this order or the next one. So we'll see. I know I got an order coming from Susan on that. Did some business with Patricia in the After Hours group, a BAM with Guy, and we're working on another referral, sort of a basement retrofit, but I got to get some more information for him. BAM with Penny Lee, and Tanya, thank you so much, if she's still here, thank you so much for the referral recently. That was great. And I had a BAM with Joanne from the EORC. We're collaborating there with another project, so that'll be great. And yeah, that's it for today. So you can put on the quote for today, Bernie, if you have it handy.
Yeah, absolutely. If people like you, they'll listen to you. If they trust you, they'll do business with you. That's from Zig Ziglar.